This video deals with World Wide Web commerce, www commerce. The web makes doing business easier and cheaper and facilitates selling online. There are two approaches, online and what's known as clicks and mortar. So the web makes doing business easier and cheaper, and it facilitates online selling. So the web is a very sophisticated instrument for selling. It's a relatively new instrument and a new way of dealing with customers, but it is effective. And there are two approaches: to deal with the customers online or to deal with them in terms of what's known as clicks and mortar. And we'll have a look at these. The internet has moved from a luxury to a necessity, and nowadays companies are expected to have an internet presence. It used to be a novelty. It was a boast amongst many companies that they had a website. It meant the companies were very advanced and very innovative and forward-looking. But now, virtually every company has a website. Every company has an internet presence. And in a sense, that is expected. That's a minimum requirement nowadays to do business. So the internet has become a part of the establishment. This video will be concerned with the old and new 5 P's of marketing. Now, this has been mentioned in other videos in this module as well, but here we're going to look ahead explicitly. We're going to look at the old 5 P's, we'll see what I mean in a moment, and the new 5 P's. So, the old 5 P's could be product, price, place, promotion, and people, and packaging. It could be 5 or 6 P's. Some books break them into 6, and some break them into... Originally there were 4: price, place, product, and promotion. Now people and packaging have been added. But the new 5 P's are paradox, perspective, paradigm, persuasion, and passion. And this is new. So we've got the 5 P's, the old 5 P's and the new 5 P's up here. And we're going to start with product, the one in red on the left hand side, just under the old 5 P's. So we'll start with product. Products most suitable for online delivery include services such as travel arrangements and bookings and software, music, and items previously sold in catalogues. Music nowadays can be downloaded, so there's nothing physical, it's a download that people pay for. Although many products are not suitable for online selling, the web may still be used to provide information about the products. So even though we have to have a physical product, the web can still be used to provide information about the product and describe the product and give people's experiences of dealing with the product. So product is very important. Next is price. Needless to say, the product must be affordable to the consumers. The web avoids the need for expensive physical shops and infrastructure, and therefore can afford to sell for less. So there are no overheads in selling online. If they were selling on the high street, they would have to pay for the premises, the lights, the insurance, security, tills, staff. It's expensive. Selling online, we don't know where it comes from. It may come from an old warehouse somewhere. But the company doesn't have to worry about the presentation of the premises. So it's a lot cheaper to sell online. There's also less error in ordering, since the customer fills out the order forms and processing is automated. So the customer does part of the work. The customer fills out what they want, and then a database can process the order, and stocks are adjusted, and invoices or delivery notes or whatever is required are produced automatically. So the process can be automated, which means it is very efficient to use. Next we look at is place. Place is less important than in traditional business, as I was suggesting just a few moments ago. A cyber business may be located in a garage or have a study as its basis. It may be a study in a house, or it might be the attic in the house. The server may sit almost anywhere, providing appropriate connections are made. So it doesn't have to have the luxury of a big shopping mall or expensive shops on the high street. The market is potentially large, let's say global. The internet commerce transcends geographic and possibly even political, legal and cultural boundaries. A product may be offered for sale on the west coast of America, and we may buy it as easily as someone down the road from where the product has been offered. If it's online, anyone can buy it. It may be offered on the west coast of America and bought in Russia or bought in China. So it's a global setting. Once we know what the sites are and once we can navigate to the sites, then there's, generally speaking, very little issues about buying, and it's a global market. Many products are global markets at least. And globalization is possible for the smallest business. That's the amazing thing. Small businesses can engage in globalized markets and deal in globalized markets. Whereas in the past, a small business could not do that. It couldn't afford to travel and make contacts in other countries and so on. Finally, storage, shelf space and physical presentation are not as important in traditional businesses. Well, shelf space, as I said, the product may be stored in the attic of a house or in a room in the house. So the storage is just boxes piled on top of each other, perhaps. So the physical presentation, dressing up the shop front and the shop window, that's not important. It means having a nice website. That is the shop window. The home page on the website may be seen as the shop window, but there's no expense in constantly dressing up the shop window and making the premises look neat and clean and tidy, and it doesn't work like that. The online shop, the products can come from anywhere, in an old store or in a distribution center or wherever. Next we move to promotion and people. Promotion and people. Increasingly, URLs are being advertised through traditional channels, newspapers, magazines, buses, and all of the various advertising outlets. Failure to appear innovative may damage the image of company and lose strategic advantage. So having a website, again, as I said earlier, it's now imperative. It's now critically important that companies show that they're forward-looking and they have a presence on the web. Whereas in the past, when the internet was new, internet sites were a novelty. Not many people had them, and not many companies had them. Businesses may promote themselves online through innovative, attractive and easy-to-use sites, and also by using affiliate arrangements, dealing with other sites, having links from other sites in their site, so visitors to their site will see the other site and will click onwards and so on. So they have affiliate arrangements. They may use online advertising on other sites, such as banners, competitions and promotions. So now companies see the importance of having a website, and they move in such a way as to make sure that their website is modern, forward-looking, and projects a good image of them and their company. Next is packaging. Some shopping is considered as a form of entertainment. It's important that an online shopping experience should also entertain the potential customer. And many people see shopping as a day out. Going to the shops as a day out, going shopping, it's an entertainment for many people. This may take the form of a well-designed site if it's shopping online, because people now shop online. So going online and seeing a well-designed site with perhaps multimedia content, with feedback facilities, forum and chat facilities, as well as discounts. This has replaced the physical shops, the experience of going to physical shops and walking around and looking at products and in and out of shops. It may not have completely replaced it. People still like doing that. But the shopping experience online is very similar. They're looking for convenience, they're looking for nice sites, they're looking for facilities on the site that are attractive to them. Strategies for setting up a website using the new 5 P's of marketing. Well, the new 5 P's are what we were about to discuss. So when setting up a site, it's important that webmasters are familiar with the various requirements of the visitor to the site, what it is that's going to hook them, to bring them back, to make them bookmark the site and come revisit and come back to it. And there should also be some parallels with the physical world. People like visiting nice shops. They don't like visiting badly designed shops. They like visiting shops where there are discounts and where the staff are friendly and it's easy to shop in there. And the language I'm using is very similar to the experiences required by online shoppers. They want ease of navigation. They want to be able to find their way around quite easily, and it should be well designed and it should look colourful and attractive. So let's look at the new 5 P's. So let's start with paradox. A paradox is a statement that appears to be self-contradictory, although it may be correct. So a paradox is something that appears to be right when it actually could be wrong, or it appears to be wrong when it actually could be right. It's something which confuses us. It's a paradox. Amazon.com has several million titles and identity of bookshops. It has many titles and it has the identity of bookshops and yet no physical outlet. So Amazon.com sells millions of books. It sells many products, not just books, many products, but it doesn't have a physical outlet. So people go shopping to a place where there is no physical thing. They go shopping online. They go to their laptop or their tablets or their mobile phones or whatever it is, and they shop in a place, in a sense that doesn't exist. They shop on a website. So it's like a paradox. It's sometimes when we want products, we want to go to a shop. There's a physical shop, and we go in and pick up physical products. It's possible to go online, and there is no such place as online. There are servers and there are connections, and there's some code perhaps on a hard drive somewhere out in internet land, internet space. There's somewhere a piece of code, and that is the shop. And it seems incredible that we can shop there and buy physical items. The BBC broadcasts on the World Wide Web. The BBC transmits signals to our television aerials and we receive the signal. But now we can receive the news online. We can receive the news anywhere. We can sit in a car on top of a mountain and get the news. There are many virtual schools and colleges that have come into existence. Not bricks and mortar anymore, not physical schools. These are schools which deliver information, do assessments and educate people, but they themselves in a sense do not exist. They are virtual. Now let's look at perspective as the next one. Perspective. Well, according to Patty, the product should be viewed from the customer's perspective. In fact, everything we've been doing on the course so far suggests that, for example, the marketing department recognizes the needs of customers and feeds back the requirements of customers to the business, who will develop products to meet those needs. So it should not be surprising, therefore, that the products should meet the customer's requirements and be viewed from the customer's perspective. The customer's perspective is what counts, and businesses should try to imagine what the customer is thinking or feeling about the product. The cyber business must determine the customer's requirements that the product or service satisfies. So the cyber business is very similar to the physical product. It must try to work out what the product or service will do for the customer. It must work out what the customer's requirements are. It must identify those, and that should be played up in the presentations of online material about the product. But also, how its product satisfies those requirements differently and better than its competitors. Because the sites are in competition. Competition still exists. It may be the internet, but there's still competition, and the competitor firms will have websites who are trying to do exactly the same thing. So in a sense, the competitive battle has just got a new dimension. It's now fought out in cyberspace. So it's important that the sites should take the perspective of the customer, identify the customer's needs, and try to address those. Next is what's called paradigm. A paradigm is a model or way of doing things. It's a way. This is a very simple definition of paradigm, but try to imagine it as a model or a way of doing things. In the modern world, there are many business paradigm shifts. Now, a paradigm shift is when we radically change the way we think or do things. That's a paradigm shift. We go along doing the same thing, thinking in the same way for many, many years, and then suddenly we think differently. We change the way we think, or we change the product, or we change our perception of the situation. There is a paradigm shift, we call it. We have shifted our paradigm. Technologically enforced, these come about all the time in our world. They are technologically enforced. These changes in business practice and product delivery are the products of evolving technology. That's what we're confronting. And because the technology is so rapidly changing, we are constantly having this paradigm shift. We're constantly changing as well, changing our way of doing business and thinking about business. Examples could be, say, for example, the Encyclopedia Britannica is now available on CD-ROM with updates on the web. In fact, it's now available on the web. Once upon a time, it was in books, very big books, and many of them. And then the same information was put onto CD. And now it's in the cloud. It's virtual. Software producers may download their product directly to the customer's hard drive. It's not so long ago we'd go out and buy the software, buy it on a CD and take it home and install it. But now we buy it and it downloads onto our machine and it installs. So there is no CD to buy. And the same happens with music. Instead of going out to buy a CD of music, we might download it, or a film. Next, there's persuasion. All businesses need to persuade customers to buy their product. The problem facing cyber businesses is to persuade customers to buy without the aid of direct human presence. So there is a problem in using the internet for online shopping, particularly if the product is expensive or complicated. We like to have a salesperson explain it to us. We like to be able to see the product. If we're going to buy a very expensive television set, we like to see the television set. We like to see it working. We like to have it explained to us. We need to experience it before we buy it. So there is a problem about buying it online. We may see it online, but we don't know what it's like when we actually get it, when we have it in our homes. And this raises a lot of almost ethical questions, because sometimes if we want to buy something expensive, we might go to a shop that sells that item with no intention of buying it, because the shop is expensive. But we use the shop to look at the product, to experience the product. We even may get a salesperson to explain it to us. Now, that's sapping the resources of that business, that bricks and mortar business, that real business. But we had never any intention of buying it in that shop because we were wanting to go home and buy it online where it's cheaper. But we experienced it before we bought it. Now, if we all do that, then the physical shop will not exist. It'll close down. And then we'll have no place to experience those products. Unless a new type of shop would open, which will be just demonstrating products and charge us to go in. That might be a case. So, persuasion is a big issue. How do online sellers persuade buyers, online buyers, to buy the product? They can present pictures or videos, but they can't give a full, tangible, tactile experience of the product. People can't touch the product. It's still in the realms of visual impact only. Paddy suggests that persuasion requires the following. Persuasion needs credibility. We have to believe the message that's been put out by the seller online. We have to believe what they're saying about the nature of the product, and we like to see reviews, what people have said about it, and the criticisms of the product and the downsides of the product. It makes everything more credible. Look at the content. Look at what is being bought, and look at what's involved in the purchase in terms of the content of the product. And the involvement of the listener. In other words, try to get feedback from other people who have purchased it before. Look at wide ranges of comments and feedbacks and criticisms and blogs and different sources. And try to search widely online for a variety of sources about the product. Lastly, we've got passion. The internet allows the development of exciting and animated sites. Web design has become extremely complex on one hand, and on the other hand it's extremely simple because we've got powerful editors who can do the coding for us. But at the same time we have ever more sophisticated sites now which will run on different media. It'll run on a mobile phone, it'll run on a tablet, it'll run on a desktop computer, and the screens will resize themselves to fit precisely. These are called responsive sites. The sites are responsive to the size of the screen that we're using. So we have very sophisticated sites. Developers, I should say, should maintain a fresh look at the site and show both enthusiasm and involvement in the life of the site. It's important that sites are maintained and kept up to date. It's important that users feel that the site is contemporary and well maintained. If there are broken links on the site, it means it's a shabby site. It's a site that's not being maintained. It's the people who were putting the site up don't care less. The site is not good. So it's important that the sites are well maintained and there is evidence of involvement and bringing the site up to date. So poor design and faulty or broken links reflect poorly on the site. So those are our new 5 Ps: paradox, perspective, paradigm, persuasion and passion. That's all we're going to deal with in this talk, so thank you for watching.